Hey guys, it's Matt with Meat Church. Well, today I'm crazy excited to be bringing you a Texas-size Colossal surf and turf on what ought to be the first ever cooking video on YouTube on the brand new Traeger Timberline XL. Hallelujah. Well, this is going to be an awesome meal, and I couldn't be more excited. I've been cooking on this Traeger Timberline XL for about 6 months. I was in the beta program. This one's actually brand new, and what I'm going to show you today could apply to any cooker, but I, got to feature this super sexy new grill, never even been cooked on. So this meat is going to be the first thing that I put in this grill, and look at all this room. Tons of great new features, which I'll talk about as we cook, but the number one feature to me, it's got an induction burner over here, which everybody's been waiting on. So we're gonna reverse sear this steak today. Y'all know I cook steaks a lot of different ways, but why would you not smoke one and sear it here on this induction burner? And we're not just talking steak today. I mean, take a look over here at the size of this lobster tail. So for comparison, this is a 32-ounce bone-in tomahawk ribeye, and it is dwarfed by this lobster that I got from my friends at Lobster Anywhere. I actually paid for this because I wanted to use their stuff. It's so good, they ship it overnight. And I bought a size smaller than this, and they sent me this ginormous one knowing what we were doing. This is the biggest lobster tail I've ever seen in my life. But this steak, shout out to my man Jared, the market manager at HEB in Waxahachie. He cut this for me this morning. This is a prime tomahawk ribeye that looks really good. So I'm gonna grab some of my holy cow. By the way, first new feature here, or second, it's pop and lock system, rail system, on the Traeger Timberline XL. I can put a little caddy here to put my seasonings in. I've also got a shelf on that caddy, and over here I've got my butcher paper holder. Totally customizable, you can move things around, but this is the setup that I dig so I can easily grab my holy cow. So we're gonna do reverse sear today, two-step process. We're gonna smoke this steak at 250 degrees until it's like 115, 120 internal. I'm gonna pull it off, and with this cast iron I have on top of the induction burner, I'm gonna sear it, get a nice hard crust on the steak. By the way, love induction because that surface won't get hot when there's not a pan on it, so my kids aren't gonna burn themselves. And it's cast iron, which is my favorite way to sear a steak. So let me get this holy cow going here, get my seal off here. And we're gonna season nice and simple. Holy cow is salt, pepper, and garlic. It's a very Texas rub. It's mostly salt and pepper, a little bit of garlic. Season how you want. Season with what you want. Maybe you just want salt and pepper. This thing doesn't need a lot of trim because Jared hooked it up for us, so. Nice kind of moderate application. Holy cow is by far and away my family's favorite steak seasoning. Got that nice big 16 mesh coarse cracked pepper in there. I love to leave seasoning on for about an hour, sitting out at ambient temperature, but I'm not gonna wait that long. We're gonna wait like 15 minutes today. So I'm gonna let this adhere, and I'm gonna come back and we're gonna get to cooking. All right guys, our seasoning is nice and adhered, so let's get in here on the cook. So I'm gonna put it right here on this middle grate. While the seasoning was adhering, I went ahead and took the top grate out just so you could see a little better. Let's talk thermometers. You guys are used to these leave-in thermometers. This new grill comes with 2 of these, but Traeger is sending you 2 of these wireless meter probes with this grill, and it actually will support 4. So this grill can support 6 thermometers through the app. So I love these wireless meter probes. I've been using these since these guys were a Kickstarter way before Traeger acquired them. And I love this because I can just insert it right here into the middle. I'm gonna go right in the heart. I want that tip right in the heart of the steak. I can monitor this temperature through my app, so I'll know exactly when it hits 115. All right, I'm gonna close this up. We're rocking here 250 degrees. Let's talk about the cook for just a second. You could smoke lower, like 225 with super smoke. If you want to impart more smoke into your steak, you could cook a little hotter. If you don't have as much time, you go 275. It really doesn't matter, it's your preference. I'm going good middle of the road smoking temperature, 250 degrees with Meat Church pellets. By the way, when we fired this thing up, you can't help but notice the full color display, amazing user experience, ton of fun. But we're gonna cook this thing probably about 45 minutes. We're going to 115 internal, like I said. And I'll talk to you about that when we come back from that, if you wanna go higher, lower, kind of where you wanna be. So I'm thinking it's gonna take about 45 minutes. I would allow yourself an hour. So I'm gonna go get that lobster ready now. All right, the steak's cooking. So let's go ahead and jump into this monster lobster tail. I'm just gonna tell you right now, I've actually never cooked one this big. And you know, may not be all that practical for y'all to cook one this big at home, but hey, everything is bigger in Texas. I like to cut the shell open, pull the meat out on top and season it. This one might take a surgical team to get right, so scalpel, let's go. Actually, Messermeister poultry shears. I'm gonna get in here and just cut this, taking these shears and just cutting right under the skin, right across here, under the shell, I should say. So I like to bring my hands in here under the shell and just kind of release the meat from the shell, just kind of all down the sides here. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and then we're gonna pull it out. Release it from the bottom here. All right, so I've got most of that out. There we go. Look at that beauty right there. Man. I got to tell you, lobster is probably my most favorite food. This and a gallon of butter, and I'm gonna be set for the day. Look at that. Whew. All right, y'all, I'm gonna go get my seafood seasoning. We're gonna season her up, and then when the steak is done, we're gonna put this on. All right, let's get this lobster seasoned up. I mean, look how beautiful this thing looks. We've got our beautiful little lobster curtains, like we're about to be live on a Broadway show here. The show is about to begin. All right, so we've got our seafood seasoning and our voodoo. Use what you like. I love voodoo on seafood, so I'm gonna do a little light application of this and mostly go with our seafood seasoning. Our seafood seasoning, something we don't talk about nearly enough, but it's great on lobster. It's got a little bit of a bite to it, so I love it. Okay, I'm gonna get here on the sides, and then our steak is about ready to come off, at which point we're going to crank the Traeger up because we want to cook this lobster at a much higher temperature. And then it's gonna be time to sear that steak and get to eating the best lunch I've had in quite some time. All right, guys, I see the steak's at 115 degrees internal through the app and the wireless meter probe, so I'm gonna pull that steak off, and then I'm gonna increase the temperature of this grill because I wanna cook this lobster around 400 degrees so that it doesn't get rubbery. So let's pull the steak out, bloop, and it looks awesome, great color already. I'm gonna go ahead and crank the temp up. I'm gonna go 400. People do lobster 350 to 500, higher temperature so that the meat doesn't get too rubbery. So I'm gonna go 400, which is kind of like right in the middle of kind of where I like to cook it. And it'll just take about 2 minutes to get up to temp. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in. This is gonna take a little bit to cook. Let's go pretty side out. There we go. We're looking for, seafood's at 145 degrees, so I'm probably gonna pull it by 140. You know, I never like to overcook my stuff, and it'll continue to carry over cook a little bit. So here's the timing deal with this cook. I'm going to lightly tint this steak with some foil, which I have here, and let it hang out and rest. Now, that tail's pretty big, and it's gonna take a little bit to cook. most of you will probably be cooking a little smaller tail. So I'm gonna go over to my induction burner. I'm gonna turn it on. I want this cast iron here over 500 degrees to sear this. I'm gonna give it a few minutes. I'm gonna turn it on. We'll do that together. And we're gonna sear 1 minute aside and then let this continue to cook. We're gonna kind of time it to get them both out at the same time. So I'm gonna let this sit here about 10 minutes before I turn that on. I'm gonna check this cast iron, see where we're at on that, and then we'll sear this steak off. All right, guys, before we sear the steak, I'm gonna baste this lobster often. Now, I've melted down some butter with the juice of a lemon, some garlic, some parsley, and a little bit of our holy voodoo. And I'm gonna keep this nice and moist, so I'm gonna baste a lot. Plus, I love butter. Whew. Like I always say, I ain't here to help you lose weight, I'm here to help you enjoy life. I'm gonna do this at least 2 or 3 times. Now it's time to get that induction burner going here in a second so we can sear. All right, let's get to this sear. So I've turned the induction burner on and I turned it all the way up to 10, which is sear. I wanna get this cast iron over 500 degrees, which it got up to that temp super quick. With my Thermoworks IR gun, we're at 525. That's after I put some oil on it. Got a little peanut oil on there, and here we go. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, if there's ever any questions about if it could sear, we've just answered that. So let's talk about this cook process on the reverse sear. I'm a medium rare guy. Actually, a little under medium rare. So medium rare is 130 to 135 internal. So we smoke this to 115. I'm gonna sear about 90 seconds aside. Look at it. If I want to go more because I like a lot of crush, we might go 2 minutes. You can adjust all this to your liking. If you like a medium steak, then I would have smoked that to like 125, maybe even 130. And you know, sear for as long as you want to get a really good crust. It's going to take a good 90 seconds, like I said, maybe 2 minutes, but we'll check in with this in just a second and see how we're doing. All right, we've been 90 seconds. Let's see how we're doing. Oh, that crust looks awesome. That's good with me. So back on to the other side. All right, this has been going 90 seconds. Whew, that looks awesome. All right, I'm gonna take this over to the butcher block, put a compound butter on it and rest it, and check on that lobster. All right, the steak is done, so let's check the lobster. Man, that looks awesome. Oh yeah, we're in the high 130s, one part, 140 on another part. All right. Man, this smells even more amazing than it looks. We've thrown a little parsley on the lobster to make it pretty, but you know, never gonna be too mad about a little more butter on there. Squeeze a little more lemon. Whew. Man, that looks good. But we're gonna scooch that out of the way. Let's slice this steak. And we've let this rest. It's been sitting here for probably 15 minutes. We put a compound butter with a bunch of herbs in it, right here on the top of the, on the steak, and it melted over it while it rested. Hell, I'll just go this way. Spinalis. Man, that looks so good. I don't know where to go first, to be honest with you, but I've been dreaming about this since we ordered it, so probably going right here. Well, this makes it nice and easy. Sitting right up here on top. We could just cut the whole thing away, but I might just get me a little piece right here. I don't know about a little piece, maybe a humongous piece. Look at that. Man, it smells so good. Ah, that's gigantic. Maybe a little Little butter dip. That's amazing. Going for the forbidden second bite. Man. I love lobster. I really like the seafood combination with the seafood, seasoning combination of the seafood and the voodoo on it, but basted in that butter. It's just like super rich and decadent, and that's probably the last meal on earth candidate for me. Let's just jump right in here to the steak. So get us this, well heck, I don't need a dang knife. What am I doing? Super simple and super delicious. Oh, that's good. That was too easy on that brand new sexy grill, but dude, you can't beat this Colossal Texas surf and turf with the biggest lobster I've ever seen in my life, and this prime bone-in cowboy ribeye that we got just right down the street here. This has been super good. The new grill, ton of fun. We got a lot of videos coming out on it naturally, but you know, you could have cooked this any way you wanted, but I had to showcase this badass new grill and I ain't too mad at it. So you guys like and subscribe to our channel. We drop weekly cooking videos here on the Meat Church YouTube channel. We'll see y'all next time. This is oddly satisfying. This is like actually more fun than my prom night. Oh boy. Finally made Kurt proud.
Sorry, Kate.